So basically, what I have to go off of that is right. Batman was able to fight on multiple occasions with Catwoman and Deathstroke, right? So even
Mhm.
when so he's beaten the two of them before, right? But even when he's lost to Deathstroke, it's been shown that they were able to swap hands and that Deathstroke actually had to try really hard to beat Batman, right?
Hi.
So a couple things with that. One, Batman is, even with comic book standards, is 100% peak human. Like as powerful, as strong, as mentally capable as a human could possibly be. He's a little bit over what we would consider peak human, but hey, if you're not Forks, can you
Oh
mute?
yeah.
All right, hold on.
What is?
Let me make sure everyone's muted. Santa's muted. Everyone. Duck's not muted. Let me server mute him because Duck's whack. There we go. And okay, so basically what we have here is when you have 100% peak human, which is Batman, you got him going against Captain America, who is 100% human potential. So he's actually superhuman because he's everything humans can't be but hope to be one day out of evolution. He's evolutionary excellence when it comes to humans. And Deathstroke, while I think their statements he processes at like 9 times faster than humans, I believe the human brain is like we use like 8 or 9% of it, so that would still be roughly 70 to 80%. And Cap thinks at 100% brain capacity, so he actually even processes faster than Deathstroke. And I do think Deathstroke is still in combat processes faster than Batman, and a lot of times even Deathstroke has said he holds back against Batman. He doesn't want to kill him because he respects Batman, which makes sense because of how highly skilled and trained they both are. There's a level of respect there, even though they're not necessarily on the same side of things. So I would disagree with Deathstroke, him fighting Deathstroke, meaning he would beat Cap. I would say I don't think Cap necessarily one shots, but I do believe Cap's gonna take him down. Would you agree with everything I said, or I'll let you counter?
All right. So basically, my counter to that would be that basically going into this battle, I was using not just feats and statements, but scaling as well to basically be able to say that Batman's working at basically a level that would contradict him just being peak human, and I think that it is
which I addressed,
right? But I just think that looking into scaling, he goes at speeds that and processes at a level that isn't even close to just human. Which, if you'd like me to give a few examples of that, the scaling that I was looking into, I could if you want.
Yeah, go ahead and tell me what you believe makes that valid.
All right, so basically, I was going off of not only Deathstroke but Catwoman as well, and I was looking at their feats, and basically they were both able to, in many instances, actually not just some, many, either kill or knock out or injure or disable beings like the Flash, right? So I was scaling Batman to be who was able to swap hands and even defeat those two sometimes, to them being able to hit Flash, who can travel at immeasurable speeds.
Right? Would you also agree that's a bit of an outlier?
Would I agree that it's an outlier?
Yeah.
I wouldn't, just because I've found it more than multiple occasions. Just looking into these things, and Deathstroke has even stated that he's faster where it counts, which would imply his processing and reactionary speeds are also at an immeasurable level, and that Batman's would be via scaling as well. Off of that is where my scaling from, basically.
Well, which is fine, but I also refuted with saying Cap actually thinks faster than Deathstroke, just because like with what we're given for Deathstroke thinking 9 times faster, and a human brain processes at like 9% usage of the actual brain. That puts them between like 70 or 80% of brain capacity. And Captain America operates at 100% capacity. And like evidence of this, like I'll give you a couple examples of why. Like Batman, Batman is definitely, when it comes to science and academia, he's definitely superior to Cap. But I'm talking about in terms of battle process as well as strategy in a fight. Captain America, as stated by Beast, who Beast has the smartest in comics, and he
Right.
stated that Captain America can literally master something he picks up in seconds that would take a normal human decade. And we've seen examples of this, like when Captain America picked up a martial art and a weapon that took several years for people to master. He mastered it immediately. Just seeing it once, just doing it once, it's literally superhuman how fast he. So like him fighting Batman, he would immediately adapt, just based on what we've seen from Cap in fights, as well as the weapon he has. I guess we can get into weapons. His vibranium shield. Batman has absolutely nothing that can get through it. As well as in the comic books, unlike the movie, it's made of like an alloy hybrid, so it's actually stronger than regular vibranium. But Batman has nothing that can get through it, as well as I don't believe he has anything that can even take down Cap, like incapacitate him. As well as Captain America's shield, the trajectory he can throw it at is unpredictable. It literally like defies the law of physics. So Batman's not going to be able to predict the way it's thrown, like the way it's going to hit him. Even if he sees it thrown a certain way a few times, he's not going to be able to predict it based on the shield literally not making any logical sense.
Right. So, basically, I hope this makes sense a bit, but thinking of your point, so basically what you're saying is that, correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying that Captain America, whose his brain basically processes at a much higher level than Deathstroke would. So
I wouldn't say
that,
higher level. Logically, it's about at least 20% faster than Deathstroke's processing time. And I think me and you would both agree we would have to be pretty hopeful to say Batman is on the same mental functioning level as Deathstroke.
yeah. Although, hopefully, I have a kind of a refute for that. Hopefully, it makes a bit of sense. Feel
Go
free
ahead.
to correct me if you don't think it does. But I would argue basically that the fact that Deathstroke was able to keep up with those immeasurable speeds of Flash, and that Batman was relative to him in combat, and also Catwoman as well. That would rather than debunk that, would only kind of suggest that the average DC human being would be at a higher level possibly than a Marvel human being, just based off of that. Because just because of those immeasurable speeds, obviously, and that's basically what I was thinking.
Okay, well, I would respond to that with, if we go along that axiom, in Marvel Comics, characters like Daredevil and Iron Fist and Shang-Chi can react to characters like Wolverine and Thor, who scale to immeasurable because of other characters like Silver Surfer literally moving through time with speed. So I would say the baseline human to human comparison is actually very close for both sides of comics. So I don't necessarily think that would matter. Like the baseline is the same for both comics based on feats. If we were to say basic humans function at the level of Flash, which obviously I don't think you believe.
Right, I don't believe
But
that.
if you want to say obviously human perception and human standards in comic books is much higher than regular human standards. Because like someone like Punisher is fodder, but like he can get shot in the chest and walk it off. So I mean, like
Yeah.
obviously standards are different, but I think that the baseline standard for both comics are the same, or at least very close. In the fact that Deathstroke stated that think 9 times faster than those humans when he's applying himself is still not as fast as Cap processes, because Cap thinks at 100% peak evolution brain capacity. So I still think Cap processes faster.
Right. So before I move on to the next point, because I actually have just a few after this, I have one more question to ask, basically, just before we move on. So regarding the Catwoman point, right? So she was basically. So you would agree that Captain America is able to keep up with immeasurable speed, correct?
Yes, he's actually shown it on several occasions.
Right. So basically, what I'm thinking is that since Catwoman was able to actually knock out three speedsters going at her simultaneously, would that suggest that Batman would be able to actually, be above just what is regarded basically as immeasurable? Or would you be able to basically give an example of Captain America blitzing somebody who's immeasurable just so we could even them out on that?
Well, yeah. First off, I think saying both Cap and Batman and Catwoman are measurable in speed is wank. Like
Right.
when I
Yeah.
beat people with Ultra Instinct Goku versus Wolverine, I'm wanking. They just can't downplay it. But like, so if we, like I said, if we went around that axiom, because Cap has taken out Wolverine on several occasions as well, he's beaten Spider-Man. He's been able to literally box Thor to a stalemate. Um, that would put them all around the same speed. But I think that's both. I think it's outliers on both sides. So we would kind of have to look at their normal modes of operation, and their normal modes of operation are not Flash level. For example, the only one that was stated to be able to stop Flash from like in recent comics from like tearing apart reality because he was running so fast was Superman. And Superman wasn't even able to stop Flash. Flash was too fast. So, no, I don't think they scaled a Flash, just like I don't think Cap's necessarily immeasurable in speed either.
Right. So would you like to go to basically their more realistic showings, or do you want to go to like the one more wink I have for Batman before then? Because just for the sake of
So,
having fun with this.
realistically, I still think Cap operates at a little higher level physically than Batman, although I will say the benchmark doesn't really matter as much because Batman's able to fight people stronger than him, which is the same for Cap. So
Right.
I don't think this necessarily comes down to physical strength, but I do think it comes down to a couple things. For one, the vibranium alloy shield is superior to anything Batman carries in his standard equipment, as well as it is a hard counter, being able to block anything Batman throws at him, as well as its unnatural and unpredictable movement style will make it next to impossible for Batman to figure out or plan ahead of, as well as we have seen that someone like Captain America, a lot of people bring this up. I came at Screw Attack this. They think Batman is like a vastly superior actual martial artist
Yeah, that
to
was
Cap,
bullshit.
but that's not.
Right.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Cap's literally masters any style he picks up almost immediately, as well as he's been able to literally spar with Shang-Chi, the number one martial artist in comics, and he's been able to fight with Iron Fist and Wolverine, who's been fighting for over 100 years in martial arts. So yeah, they're very relative in skill. So when you put
Right.
everything relative, I think worst case for Cap, this becomes a war of attrition, and Cap wins because, to my knowledge, comics as I have, Batman's actually probably my favorite superhero, by the way. So Lobo doesn't count because he's not a hero at all. But Batman has, in the Neil Adams classic run, he fought Ra's al Ghul for a day straight. It was like sun up to sundown, and then he went down because he got poisoned. But like his best straight fighting feats at fighting at like peak performance was like a day, and that's against another human. And then Cap fought Wolverine for 3 days straight and showed no signs of fatigue, and eventually won. So, and that's like Cap literally doesn't have fatigue toxin.
Yeah. So
So
you would.
if it,
Yeah.
yeah, if it becomes a grind, it's 100% in Cap's favor.
Which yeah, I'd agree with he'd have the superior endurance as far as stamina goes. Let's see. What else do I have? So yeah, obviously you said that their skill wise they're pretty similar. Captain America, Batman. He's definitely fought
It's
people on
4:30.
a very high skill level. Um, the Sorry, can you remind me about how you were basically refuting, because I'm sorry, I actually forgot this part of the video. Can you remind me how you were refuting Batman's stealth being superior, and he would be able to get the drop on him, basically? Should he be able
Oh,
to?
okay. So, first off, Cap does have super senses, as he operates at 100% peak human evolution. So, as well as he's had so much experience fighting, and as well as in a standard battle assumption, both of these characters are within distance for them to tag each other. So we'll say like 10 or 15 feet, maybe 20. Batman, because of Cap's speed and skill and strength, is not going to have time to use any stuff. As well as Cap has fought through stuff like smoke screens before, or like being blinded. It doesn't matter to him. As well as he's literally able to throw his shield like around corridors that he's not even in and tag people 100% perfect, which you can pretty much attribute to his awareness being at 100% evolution standards. So something like a smoke screen being thrown and him trying to get to the shadows doesn't, it's not going to matter. Cap's just going to close the distance, especially when Cap sees this fighter is one trying to get the stealth drop on him. Cap's going to be able to fight him, as well as like Cap's easily able to fight characters like Wolverine, who is so stealthy that like he's able to get to Spider-Man or Daredevil by like becoming basically soundless in his attacks.
Right, and they themselves have like hacks that are literally designed to pick up on that.
Yeah, and like he could blitz Daredevil, who Daredevil can sense when he wants to, can sense for like 2 miles around, perfect radius, everything going on, and he can still blitz them. And it's just like Batman doesn't have time to use stealth. It's going to be a situation similar to him fighting someone like a Ra's al Ghul, where it's a drag out fight, just skill to skill, no stealth included, because they're literally just don't have time to operate in that way.
Right. So, I'm gonna like honestly, I was coming in expecting to go outlier versus outlier in a way, kind of like do that highball debate, rather just like on a random encounter with just what they're what they usually show, right? But I would
yeah.
Like, would you agree that outlier Batman, just using his basic no prep time, just standard equipment, would you agree that he would be able to defeat Captain America?
What do you mean by standard outlier Batman? You would have to elaborate on that.
Just like feats that he's done while in his standard equipment, not using any of those bat machinery, or like the suits that he goes into, not like the ones that were designed by and for the Justice League. Basically just him that you would imagine him as standard loadout, but feats he's done that would be highballed while in that.
I would actually disagree if it's still just standard batarangs and like bat hook, because even with the Flash stuff, like I said, Cap has literally boxed Thor to a standstill and avoided blitzes from Wolverine, and Wolverine can literally blitz Phoenix Force Jean Grey, who like was just a part of the Phoenix Force given to the Phoenix Five. They were like the Phoenix Five were dicking down people like Thor, and then Captain America has been able to hurt the Hulk, like a bunch of crazy shit. So no, I think standard equipment outliers, I could still argue for Cap. I think now outliers because of prep time, Batman mollywops, no difficulty.
Like not even prep time. Like I'd argue just no prep time. Do you want to like, if it's all right with you? So I'll counter just consistent. Do you want to like really quickly go into their just wank them off real quick?
Yeah. So if it's wank with standard equipment, no Hellbat, nothing like that. Sure. Yeah.
All right.
We do
so
that.
You want me to go first?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So basically, I'm just gonna use the highest showing that I've seen Batman be capable of. So in his encounter, basically, he was able to go right. So of Batman's encounter with True Form Darkseid, because I'm not
Okay, I'm gonna cut you off.
I'm not counting the prep time for that.
What part are you gonna talk about for that? Is it the bullet? That stupid ass bullet?
No, I'm not. I'm just going to be talking about the fact that it was shown in the comic panel that even like after Darkseid, he can easily scale to be above irrelevant speeds. Like he's irrelevant, but he's shown to be.
Well, what did he
faster
do
than
in the
irrelevant
comic
speeds.
that
Yeah, so
that
in the
surprised?
comic, it was shown that they were talking, and then in one panel it shows him lighting up his eyes to shoot the Omega beams at him. Batman is, even if he had prep time, he was actually fast enough to actually react to it and be able to pull the bullet. I would argue that since that dark side was shown to be above irrelevant speed beings, that would count as irrelevant
Well, I would
processing speed and reaction.
I would argue that with Batman had the gun raised already, and Darkseid wasn't really worried about the bullet, and so he pulled the trigger, and then the laser was fired. Lasers fired after.
All right, so hold on. I'll get the scan. Basically, just that in the scan, if I'm remembering correctly, I have it. He was shown to
That's
pull
the
it
platonic
after.
bullet.
Right, I know. I'm just saying that the fact that he was even able to get away with processing that he's about to shoot an Omega beam at him and then pulling
Are you posting it in Splashy Debates?
I can post it in that or the hood.
Go ahead and post it wherever you want.
Yeah. So.
By the way, Forks, you've also 100 times exceeded the idiot I had on my channel yesterday, so I commend you for that.
It's not very hard, to be honest, but thank you.
Yeah,
Right.
That guy was trash.
So basically, I'm arguing that it shows in the comic panel him Darkseid charging up his Omega attack before in the comic before, and then after Batman is shooting, which I'd argue is irrelevant speed to even react to that at all. Because if he's beyond,
Yeah, I would disagree because Batman got hit. He didn't actually avoid it at all. He got popped. That's why we saw Batman disappear. He was sent back in time.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he So here's sorry, I'm sometimes bad at explaining things like this, but I'm not saying that he was faster than the because he got hit, right? But the fact that he was even able to get the bullet off and register that something was happening and that it was time to fire after Darkseid launched his attack at him would be, in my mind.
Well, I disagree because I'm pretty sure. I mean, you can post a scan, but I'm pretty sure he fired and then Darkseid's beams left his eyes. And I would say the bullet itself is the reason it was able to hit Darkseid.
Right.
And then I would also, if I wanted to, I would argue those Omega beams were hard to quantify because clearly they didn't operate as usual. For one, because we find out later Batman was actually just teleported, removed from that timeline. And usually when you see Omega beams, it erases. So I would say we don't really know the speed of those beams. You could try to wank it to irrelevant, but for Batman, but for one, I'm pretty sure he pulled the trigger and then he got hit. So he didn't react or anything. He just pulled that trigger, and that bullet itself has a relevant speed because it's a platonic concept bullet.
Right.
And then,
sorry.
Yeah, no, I would definitely say something safer would have been your Flash reference.
Right.
The bullet thing's a lot easier to downplay than him fucking reacting to Flash.
Yeah. And I was just making this because Darkseid, of course, to basically blitz. I think he's been shown to blitz and overpower new gods, who of course would also fall into those irrelevant categories, I do believe. So is where I was coming from for this.
Also, I do think I don't have it on me right now, or I just don't feel like looking for it. But pretty sure there's a statement that whenever Darkseid appears to humans or whatever, it's not his normal form. So I would argue that it's a weakened Darkseid. It might be true form Darkseid, but because he's come to the mortal realm, he's weakened.
Well, I mean, I don't think he came to the mortal realm.
And I'm pretty sure he was already getting fucked up, wasn't he?
I mean,
just the same comic.
I think this is taking place on Apocalypse, which the other scan shows that. Hold on, let me pull it up. That Batman was, which this was also part of my wanking argument as well. That Batman's processing would also be on a higher level than Captain's because I would be arguing that he's viewing a Platonic concept, right? Which would be which would wank Batman's thought capabilities to above the infinite dimensions, which I would argue.
Yeah, I would argue that Darkseid was weakening himself in order to have that conversation. So he appeared to him to have the conversation type thing. It's just Darkseid talking to him. So like the talking speed of Darkseid would be the same for any form.
Yeah, he has a relevant talking speed.
Yeah, I don't even know how that would. Nah, I don't think so.
All right.
I would definitely put them at similar physical stats with outliers, but I would still think it would come down to Vibranium Shield.
And I'd also argue that this is actually in your favor. That I remember from the video you said that even if Batman has mastered all the martial arts in the world, which he has, you showed Captain America defeating somebody who had actually had that exact attribute, and being able to overcome him. So if they were to be at the same physical abilities, I think the Shield and that he's better at fighting. Well, that's still a bit of a stretch, but I think the Shield, yeah. But
well, see, the issue with Cap when it comes to my biggest issue I had with Screw Attack was their complete downplay of his skill. Is that Cap, even without like the serum, has fought high level martial artists, and like he's fought someone like U.S. Agent who is multiple times stronger and superior to him with the super soldier formula, and Cap beat him. And then like Cap's fought like I said, Shang-Chi, Iron Fist. He's fought all the top martial artists. It was just fine.
And I mean, so has Batman. Obviously, has fought Ra's al Ghul, and people actually forget that Bane is a genius at strategizing in martial arts. They usually think that he's just a brute, but Bane's actually really good at fighting. But Batman's defeated him, and he's stronger than him. Although going back to their consistent showings, would you not argue that Batman has been shown consistently, in fact, to dodge things like not just bullets, but Superman.
Yeah, so you could say light speed reactions, or he'd sub-rel because he could react to lasers. But I would argue the biggest issue for Batman is that everything in his arsenal, none of it can take down Cap. Like, for instance, so Cap, I put this in my debunk video, Cap fought Gambit one time in the comic books, and Gambit threw like full power. Are you aware of Gambit's mutant power?
Yeah, teleportation.
So so he's like fully charged. He can fully charge objects with kinetic energy and make them explode. And he charged Cap's suit with kinetic energy and it exploded it, and Cap just walked through it, did nothing to him. It just pissed him off. Yeah. So I don't see.
Based even off of consistent scalings with Batman to Deathstroke or Catwoman, I mean, they've been shown to even consistently, I'd argue, to be capable of withstanding hits from beings like the Flash, even, because I know that they've tanked multiple of those, right? Consistently, just attacks from the Flash in general, and that Flash has been able to fight people like Mongol or in some.
Yeah, I would just argue Cap's taking hits from Thanos and stuff, and Hulk. Hulk, like even Savage Hulk, could snuff out the head of like Dormammu, who you can argue is multiversal. Yeah, I would just argue.
I actually brought that up earlier, that Infinity Gauntlet storyline, Cap, his shield got broken by Thanos, right? So in that hit, he would have had to absorb like a portion of Infinity Gauntlet Thanos.
Yeah, Cap does have some pretty stupid feats as well. Like, people forget he's always there when shit's going down. So he's going to be just as involved as someone like your boy Batman. So now Batman with prep time, obviously Bolos. I can't say that enough because someone's going to comment it. But prep time doesn't matter in a random occasion, in a random situation, and because of, just kind of to wrap this up, because of Cap's speed, at least I'll like wank Batman and say they're relative. The fact that he never Bat has no time to utilize arguably his best asset, which is his intelligence and stealth. And Cap being the superior soldier, like the ultimate soldier you could have, would not allow someone like Batman as they're fighting when he sees Batman's relative, and like sees Batman try to use a smoke pellet or whatever, he's gonna know this guy's gonna try to use like stealth tactics. So he's not gonna allow that.
Right.
Because of that, it's literally just a matter of time before Cap finishes him off.
Yeah. So you just to kind of conclude this, you just argue that Cap has him basically on the shield and the endurance factor, whether it is just wanking them off or consistent, right?
Yeah, and I would say for this video, I do actually believe Cap beats Batman in a random encounter. I didn't consider this uphill. Like most of my videos I've been doing lately, they were uphill videos, like me doing something like Wolverine versus Goku or Thor versus Beerus.
Right.
But this one I actually do think Cap beats Batman. So if anyone wants to challenge me again, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But no, it was it was a good debate. Forks is in my server, so if y'all want to come to my server and debate me like he does, it doesn't matter. I'm pretty open to debating anyone. So yeah, thanks for coming on and debating though, Forks. It was fun.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
All right.
All right, see you.